Welcome, and thank you for joining the candidate forums for Broward County School Board Districts 6 and 8. This event is hosted by the League of Women Voters of Broward County and the Broward County Council of PTA PTSA. My name is Monica Elliott, and I'm the Voter Services Chair of the Broward League. I will be the timekeeper and the controller of the mute button. The moderator for this evening is Latha Krishnaiyer, who is a past president of the Florida PTA and the Broward County PTA, PTSA, and she's currently the legislative policy chair here in Broward County. The League of Women Voters was formed 106 years ago, just before women obtained the right to vote in August 1920. We are a nonpartisan political organization with the mission of empowering voters and making democracy work. We have never endorsed a party or a candidate in our 106-year history. However, we do advocate on issues that we as a group feel is important to our membership. Behind me, you will see the banner promoting the League's vote411.org website. At this website, you will find information provided by the candidates who will be on the August 18th ballot, as well as the answers to the written questions that the League posed to them. Right now, you're also going to find an explanation of the 3 proposed amendments to the Florida Constitution, although those will not be on the ballot until November. Vote by mail ballots have been sent out by the Broward County Supervisor of Election. If you had pre-ordered them, they should have come by now. If you have not requested one, you have until 5 p.m. on August 6th. You can call the office at 954-357-7055. Please be sure that you sign the outside mailing envelope of your vote by mail ballot before submitting. And if more than one vote by mail ballot arrives for your household, be sure to check that you are signing your mailing envelope and not someone else's. Those are the 2 most common errors that we see. So on for our forum. School board members hold an elected office which is nonpartisan. Candidates are not listed on the ballot with any political party affiliation. In order to win, a candidate has to obtain 50% of the vote plus 1. We are beginning tonight with District 8, which is an at-large district encompassing the entire county. This means that every registered voter in Broward County can vote in the District 8 race. It doesn't matter if you're registered as a Republican, a Democrat, or no party affiliate. You have the opportunity to select the District 8 member of the school board. We will follow with the candidate form for District 6, and that includes all or part of Cooper City, Davie, Plantation, Sunrise, and Weston. Again, this is a nonpartisan race, even for District 6, but only registered voters in District 6 will have that race on their ballot. So everyone is going to have District 8 on their ballot. And then depending on what district you live in will determine if you have other school board districts on your ballot. Now I will explain the format for tonight's forum. The candidates were not provided the questions in advance. They have been provided the order in which they will answer each question, just so we can conduct the forum more efficiently. Because this is a forum and not a debate, no rebuttals will be allowed in the question and answer segment. Candidates, we ask that their answers remain focused on the relevant policy questions that we asked. And candidates should refrain from personal attacks of other candidates. So each candidate is going to have 2 minutes to provide a self-introduction. This will be followed by 6 questions where each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond. And then we will conclude with each candidate providing a 1-minute closing statement. I will hold up a yellow star, which I forgot to get. So just one moment here. I apologize. This is the yellow star for 10 seconds. And then when you need to stop, I've got the red heart that I will show up. And then also can remember I control the mute button. So now I would turn the program over to our moderator, Latha. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Broward County Council of PTA, welcome to this Candidates Forum. PTA's mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. We are dedicated to children's educational success, health, and well-being through strong family and community engagement. We are an all-volunteer advocacy association. We are part of Florida PTA and the National PTA. We were founded 129 years ago to get children out of sweatshops and into schools. We are nonpartisan and do not endorse candidates. We have been active in the Broward County Public Schools for over 90 years. Our advocacy efforts on behalf of children extend beyond our local governments to the Florida legislature and the U.S. Congress. Over the years, we have successfully fought for the creation of kindergarten classes, child labor laws, hot and healthy lunch programs, mandatory immunization, arts and education, and school safety, among other issues important to children and families. We thank the League of Women Voters of Broward for partnering with us to educate and inform our members and the community at large. We thank you, the candidates, for joining us tonight. Okay, we can begin with questions, Monica. You got the timer?
We'll do the 2-minute introduction
Oh, right.
first.
I think a first candidate is Mrs. Zim. 2 minutes for introduction.
Okay.
Yeah, you have 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know we were starting. Hi, good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Sonia Zim, and I'm running for Broward County School Board District 8, the at-large seat. So as the young lady stated earlier, I will be on all of your ballots. I'm running for a multitude of reasons. I'm a mom, and every amazing that my daughters were able to have in Broward County schools. My little daughter graduated on June 3rd from Strand School. Big daughter graduated in August of 2023. However, there's some changes and some things that would need to be updated with the Broward County School Board. With regards to transparency and accountability, we have to have transparency and accountability so that we can earn back the trust of the community that we serve. Unfortunately, some of that trust has eroded with recent events and missteps that have been made, and I want to have an opportunity to earn that back. I want to fight to make sure that we increase teacher pay. Teachers are asked to do more and more every single day with less and less. And unfortunately, we are paid 50th in the nation for the 3rd year in a row. Our teachers are struggling to make ends meet. They're oftentimes staying with family and friends or hotels. And we need to do a better job of paying teachers what they're actually worth. And we need to start that by increasing teacher pay. I want to make sure that every student has adequate and equitable access to be successful and have adequate and equitable access to dynamic academic programming. I want to make sure they have facilities that are maintained and upkept properly and equitably across the entire district. I want to make sure that the discipline matrix is actually issued in an equitable manner, because as it stands right now, our Black and brown children receive harsher consequences than our white children for their exact same infractions. Lastly, I want to make sure we have a comprehensive safety planning program for all of our employees. Thank you so much for your time and today for inviting me.
Thank you, Mrs. Zim. Dr. Zeman, you have 2 minutes.
Thanks, Latha Krishnaiyer. How are you tonight?
Good.
Thank you for your service to the PTA. It's an organization, as you mentioned, with 90 years of history in Broward County Schools. Broward County Schools only been around 111 years, so you've been here for a good part of a very glorious run. You know, I ran 4 years ago and came to this event as one of many events when you run for office. And I made the case here, which I've made the case in many other places, which that being a B district was not sufficient. We had been a B district for 13 years, and I ran on that by and large because I felt after 8 years of running the largest training and education in the world in the Pentagon, after serving 7 years on the Fort Lauderdale Education Advisory Board, 8 years on the Department of Defense School Board, that I had the executive chops and the experiences to do the things that boards do. Boards don't operate schools, but boards do set policies, they set resources, and they approve all major decisions. And I felt like, after having been an executive in government and executive in business, that it would be a great time to give back to the community that I grew up in. I'm a graduate of Dillard Elementary School, Sunrise Middle, and Fort Lauderdale High School right here in Broward County. My dad worked for Broward County Schools for 30 years. We grew up in the school system, and I was very committed. Well, what happened? Well, over those 4 years, we became an A district in one year, became an A district for the second and the third year. And this year, Cambridge University said that Broward County Schools is the best school district in the country. So we achieved what I felt like we needed to in our core mission. I also felt, though, that we needed to raise teacher pay. And I wrote an op-ed in the Sun Sentinel saying that teachers need to be paid $100,000. And no one believed that we could do that. In 4 years, we've raised compensation $13,000. We've raised pay $6,800 at a time when the resources just aren't there. So I've delivered on my promises, and I want to do 4 more years to make us the best district in the country.
Thank you, Dr. Zeman. We will be alternating questions. Mrs. Zeem, you have the first question. We'll ask the same questions of both candidates. Your first question: what should Broward County Public Schools be doing to combat declining enrollment? As a school board member, what would you do to improve the quality, competitiveness, and reputation of Broward County Public Schools so they remain the preferred choice for families?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Let me just let everyone know that I'm traveling to take my youngest daughter up to her freshman orientation, so I apologize for bouncing around a bit. So what I think we need to do for Broward schools is we have to market better. We have declining enrollment, we have students leaving on a regular basis, and some of that is because the trust has been eroded, and some of that is because parents simply don't know about the opportunities that Broward County Schools offers. We should not be the best kept secret with our magnet programs, with the academic opportunities that we offer for our students. We should be yelling it from the rooftop. We should be sending postcards if we can to people's homes like the charter schools do for their students when they're trying to recruit. We should be at every community event to make sure that everybody knows what we have to offer. And the magnet programs that we have, the academic excellence that we show, should be demonstrated by yelling it from the rooftops. It should be on commercials. It should be on flyers. It should be everywhere. We have to show that we are the best option. People should know that Dillard High School made it to the state competition in robotics and got second place. And they were invited to Worlds, but they were unable to go because they couldn't afford it financially. People should know that New River Middle School is the only middle school on the East Coast of the United States that has a Marine Magnet program that's a public school. The other school is in California. So we need to do a better job of getting the message out there.
Thank you. Dr. Zeman, would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, no, I think I got it. Thanks, Latha. I've been asked this a few times over the past 4 years. I can tell you that my opponent and I have a different view. As I have said several times on the campaign trail, I'm a facts and figures guy. I believe in data. I believe in looking hard and figuring out, what does the data tell us about the problem. I think with 41% of Broward County being directly involved in public schools, the message is getting out fine. The issue is we're not playing on a level playing field. Charter schools have 68 pages of legislation and law. Public schools have 1,408. So if you want to say that we have school choice, level the playing field. And what I would recommend to the governor and the legislature, as I have done for 4 years, is let us operate under the charter school legislation. Let's get rid of some of this regulation that's been around for 111 years. We don't need that anymore. Level the playing field. And then number two, I will compete. We have more certified teachers. We have better facilities. We have better locations. This year, by the way, at my direction, Every one of our 128 schools is going to offer music, art, PE, and have a full-time librarian. You want to talk about equitable distribution? That is equitable. Every school, regardless of race, ethnicity, size, zip code, location, parents' income, Title I status, is going to have the whole suite of specials. It's about time we did that in Broward County, and we have done it. The other thing that I would do is just to be a lot more creative about what we are doing. We need to understand what the customer wants in a competitive marketplace, and then we need to deliver that to them over and over again. I created a sports academy in Fort Lauderdale. There's an elementary school, middle school, and high school. They got $3.5 million set aside to build sports equipment, sports facilities, brand new track, synthetic turf fields. Why? Because in that area, people want to send their kids to a school where they can stay after school, play tennis, play pickleball, play football, play soccer. And
Thank
that's what we
you.
need to do to
Thank
keep
you.
winning.
Thank you.
I didn't
This
see the yellow
question,
star, by the way, Monica. I'm sorry about that.
um, this question is a follow-up to the first question. Dr. Zeman, you are first. What skills and knowledge will you bring to the school board that will enable you to help face this challenge?
Well, I have started and sold companies. I've started some new companies in the past 10 years. I've lived in the competitive marketplace. I competed while working for the Navy, because the Navy competes all over the world to make sure that we have safe lines of shipping and safe lines of communications all over the world. So I enjoy competition. I love things where there's a score at the end of the period. And I bring that capability. And the second thing that I think I've had displayed for the past 40 years is I believe deeply in servant leadership. My parents were a couple of hippies out of the 1960s, and they taught us that serving other people is really the greatest measure of a person. And so right after I got my PhD, I got offered 8 jobs to go be a professor, and I got 1 job in the government to go work for the United States Navy, and I chose that job. And I stayed there. I was the youngest person in the history Navy to be selected to be a senior executive and equivalent to an admiral. And my second assignment, I was relieved a 2-star admiral from his job. And my third assignment, I relieved a 3-star where I got to run the training and education system of the Navy. So I have executive experience where it matters most in national security. But you know what builds a nation more than national security, Latha? It's education. Education built this nation. Education built this county. And we have to make sure that we take that same approach that we take in national security, which is very serious stuff. We have to take that level of seriousness, that level of data-informed decision making, that level of insane focus on outcomes, not inputs. And that's what I bring to the school board. The last thing, I also
Thank
have 3
you.
kids. All right, I got
But
14 seconds left.
oh, we have the stop sign from Monica and Mrs.
Our stopwatches are not synced, Monica. I wasn't
Okay,
quite
you're
done yet.
back. Mrs. Zim, same question.
About that. I'm going to join on my phone also just to make sure that I'm able to continue on. So what the experience that I bring to the table is I was a special education teacher for 14 years and director, and I was a classroom aide. I have been a district administrator, and I've been a parent, a PTA mom, and a SAC mom, and a community member. And I think in order for us to combat this situation, we have to get active in the community. We can't effectively serve a community that we're not active in. We have to go right to the source, right to the heart of the problem, and find out what is going on, why parents are leaving, why they're taking their children to other schools, and we have to address that head on. We have to make some changes. We have to take community input, and we can't just sit back and think because we are the public school that 80% of the students are going to choose us, or parents are going to choose us, or people are going to choose us simply because we are the public school. We have to do a grassroots option where we go out into the community, we dig around, we find out what the community's needs are, what's going well, what's not going well, why are they staying, why are they leaving. We have to have the opportunity to speak to the communities that we serve and the communities that we're involved in. Otherwise, we're going to continue down this road without having an opportunity to know why we're losing the students that we are. We have to be creative in the way that we are marketing, like I said before, and we have to do some things differently. We have to do the legwork, we have to do the groundwork and get out there and find out what the community needs.
Latha, you may be muted.
I'm
You're
sorry.
Yes.
muted.
Um, as the board, Mrs. Aim, you're first. As the board moves towards redefining and repurposing schools, please explain your ideas, including the plan to close schools and how they will be selected. How will you ensure that the process is equitable throughout the county?
I'm sorry, can you read it again? I broke up
Yeah.
a little bit.
As the board moves towards redefining and repurposing schools, please explain your ideas, including the plan to close schools and how they will be selected. How will you ensure that the process is equitable throughout the county?
Sure, thank you for that. So during the redefining process and the declining enrollment that we're experiencing, I know that we are losing students and we're losing teachers, we're losing money hand over fist. I do understand that. However, I would like to try to find a creative way in order for us to keep our schools open if at all possible. We are experiencing a loss of money. So we're looking at things like Casey Wright building. We're considering whether it should be sold or whether it should be leased. I think if it's sold, depending on what the amount is, that could be an option. But if we have it leased out, then that will be residual income. So when we get ourselves out of this financial pickle, that we will continue to have residual income to be used the way that it's necessary within the school district. With regards to closing schools, we have to take into consideration the community that it serves, if it's going to disrupt the students, the families, and how they are serviced by the school closure. Are we going to be able to provide them with an equitable alternative for them to have transportation, after school programs, before school programs, and so on, in order for them to go to schools that are in their area? Are there other schools in their area? There are a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration with regards to considering closing schools. We also need to partner with our community partners to bring in opportunities and develop those to the best of our ability so that we don't have to close schools until it's an absolute last resort.
Thank you. Dr. Zeman, would you like me to read the question?
Nope, I got you. Again, we've been working on this a long time, and I'm going to answer this in a different way than my opponent. I don't deal in generalities. I'm a facts and figures guy. We have 239 campuses in Broward County that we built for a student load of 250,000 students. We are on our way right now at 187. Next year, we'll have about 178. We're on our way to a plateau of about 150 students. It is not appropriate for us to pay for the infrastructure that was built for 250,000 students when we have 150. Why is that? Simple economics. Each school costs between $2 and $5 million of fixed costs. We need that money to be focused on our core mission, to take care of our kids' academics, take care of their mental health, take care of their safety and security, and make sure that we're delivering for everybody in Broward County schools. The criteria for closing schools are pretty straightforward. If it's an under-enrolled school, if it's academically struggling, if it's got adjacent capacity where we can send those kids. And again, I disagree with my opponent. Every school closure is disruptive for a short period of time for those students. But you know what we could do and what we have done in Broward County in closing schools? We've made sure every time we closed a school, we were opening seats in a school that was better performing. And isn't that what parents really want long term? They want to send their kids to the best schools. So we're keeping our best schools open. We're looking at repurposing wherever we can. But again, when you have an infrastructure that's built for 250,000 people, you can't continue to pay for that and then campaign on teacher pay. Because if we want to pay teachers well, we need to free up as many resources as we can to make sure we continue to pay them what they deliver for the community. So, that's a hard and fast kind of quick lesson on repurposing. It's something we got to do.
Thank you. Dr. Zeman, you're first. This is your fourth question. School safety extends beyond physical security. What would Broward County Public Schools do to better support students' mental health? Specifically, how would you allocate the referendum dollars, if it passes, between safety, mental health, and teacher salaries? What mental health services specifically would the referendum dollars be used for?
I love this question. Again, my dad was a school psychologist in Broward schools for 30 years. My mom's a PhD psychologist. It's something that I grew up with. It's something I've championed on Broward County School Board. I have been the one school board member for the last 4 years talking more about mental health. Let me give you some quick numbers. 40% of high school kids can tell you that they have thought about taking their own life. 20% of high school kids in our schools can tell you how they would take their life, and 10% have tried. Just think about those numbers. We have last year graduated 16,000 students from Broward County. I attended 18 of those graduations. But that means there's 1,600 kids that walked across those stages who tried to take their life. The numbers are staggering. We have to be serious about it. That's why, under my leadership, we invited a company in to do an assessment, an outside independent assessment. We didn't form a committee. We didn't form a task force. We didn't beg the community to come and yell at us. We went and hired experts. And you know what they told us? You don't have enough therapists. And teachers don't know who to refer people to when they observe a case. So we have 12,500 teachers. That's our sensor grid for mental health. They see things that are going on that are different. They have this great intuition about problems coming up, but they might refer someone to a guidance counselor or maybe send an email to a parent when what they really need to do is engage the family therapist. And so what we've developed in Broward County Schools is an investment plan that's going to use up 5% of the new referendum money and also invest some additional money we get out of savings next year to buy more therapists and to train teachers to make sure that when they see something, they know exactly who to refer that to.
Thank you. Mrs. Zim, same question.
Would you read it again? I'm sorry, my connection. I apologize.
School safety extends beyond physical security. What should Broward County Public Schools do to better support students' mental health? Specifically, how would you allocate the referendum dollars, if it passes, between safety, mental health, and teacher salaries? What mental health services would the referendum dollars be used for?
Okay, thank you for that. The money would be allocated as it was earmarked, with 90% going to instructional and instructional and school-based staff. 5% what I believe should go to safety and security, and then 5% would go to mental health services. Because unfortunately, as Dr. Zeman said, we do have experienced a lot of mental health crises with our students. The population that is most vulnerable, not just in Broward County schools, but in the United States, is our 12 to 18-year-olds. That is our middle and high school students. And we need to put more services and more opportunities for them to go to. But I find it very interesting that while we need to invest in more mental health services and opportunities for students to have, that the board decided to cut 36 SSIS, student support and intervention specialists. And those specialists were directly working with students who were having mental health crises, that were dealing with issues at home, that needed a go-between or somebody to talk to, or a person that could help them mitigate and navigate the issues that they were going through. So those 36 or 38 people that were just taken out of the system were frontline people in our schools that were directly impacting students and mental health. And they shared schools because there wasn't enough of them for all of our schools, but they made an impact in the lives of those children. So we need to, if we're going to allocate resources, then we need to make sure that we're saying and doing what we say we're going to do.
Thank you, Mrs. Zim. You are first for this question. Many families of students with disabilities continue to experience challenges accessing services, accommodations, and support. What is your plan to ensure all students have access to high-quality education, regardless of background or abilities?
Thank you for that. I'm glad you said that. I am, like I said, a former special education director and teacher for 14 years. And what we find is that unfortunately, we have not been able to keep up with the services that our students need on a regular basis. We find that our students are not getting all of the adequate services that they need for their 504s, their, excuse me, I'm so sorry, IEPs, to make sure that they have the accommodations that they're supposed to have. So that's something that has to also be a priority. We have to make sure that we are either hiring or bringing in the appropriate people so that we can service our students appropriately, so that their IEP needs can be met, so that the IEP is written for the student, not for the school, and that all of our students would have access to an equitable education opportunity, regardless of their background, socioeconomic status, disability status, or whatever requirements that they have. We have dropped the ball in some instances where we have not educated our students or had met the needs of our students with disabilities. And that's something that we absolutely have to improve upon to make sure that all of our students have access to a fair and free and appropriate public education. From the IDEA Act, all the way down from the federal government, all the way down to the local level, we need to follow it to a T to make sure that we are adequately educating our students no matter what.
Thank you. Dr. Zeman?
Thank you very much. Our special needs students in Broward County represent 39% of our total. We have significantly invested in taking care of them. The IEPs that they have for special needs kids allow us to be very equitable, all based on what their needs are, with prescriptions for what kinds of treatments and therapies would be best for them. I'm very proud of the facilities. I'm very proud of the special needs teachers and the special needs administrators like Mrs. Eam, who work tirelessly to make sure that the kids who are entrusted to them do good things. So I've worked very closely with Diane Egan on this 39%. We have to make sure that we're executing with fidelity. We have to make sure we have the resources to provide them all the services that they need. We have to not just comply with IDEA, we have to comply with our own moral and ethical standards. And as Ms. Azim said, there's a constitutional requirement in Florida that we offer high quality education to every student. There are federal regulations to do that as well, and we take that very seriously. So I'll tell you just in closing that Broward County Public Schools are really the only choice we have in public education. You cannot just walk up to a charter school and enroll. You walk up to a charter school and you apply. Charter schools in Broward County have 3% of their students special needs. We have 39%. So you want to talk about being equitable? We take everybody and we find out what they need. We provide them the resources in, I think, one of the best national ESE systems that we have. And I'm really, really proud of Diane Egan.
Thank you.
Hey, Monica, I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm starting my timer when I talk, and I keep getting cut off early. So can we agree that the timer starts when the speaker talks?
That's exactly what I'm doing. So
I'm okay. Then that'll be wonderful. Appreciate it.
I'm using an iPhone. I don't know.
It's cutting off Mrs. Eam and it's cutting me off early. And I just as long as we're doing it when we start talking, I'd appreciate it.
Yes. Now I'm using the timer. I think you're using the other feature.
Stopwatch.
Yeah. And that may be the difference, which is interesting.
That's fine. Maybe you can yell start and then I'll hit start and we'll all know exactly when we're running out of time. I time my ending so that I get to a point at the end, like summing it all up. And if you can say start, maybe when you start the timer, that I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, this is your last question. And we start with Dr. Zeman. Parents often say they are informed after decisions have been made rather than included before they are made. How would you improve communication, transparency, and meaningful family engagement throughout the district.
I'm hitting start.
I already started too, Monica. I got the jump on you this time. I'll tell you what I've done. And, there are, we got to be honest about the size of the issue here. There are 2 million residents roughly in Broward County. It's a large county. It's bigger than 13 states. So if you're like me and you're elected countywide, you've been elected to represent a lot of people. I go to the Parent Community Involvement Task Force. I go early to meetings and I walk around and talk to the people that are coming to talk to us at school board meetings. I've logged 1,152 hours in school board meetings in the last 4 years, and I've never missed a meeting. And the reason I don't miss meetings, and the reason I talk to people, and the reason I go to parent community involvement task forces is it allows me to make sure that I am informed way before we make decisions. So let me tell you how else I make sure that the community is involved. Here's the list of things that I just wrote down real quick about how I'm involved. You want to talk about being active in the community? I'm the president of my HOA. I'm on the Broward Planning Council. I'm on for 7 years served on the Education Advisory Board. I'm on the executive chair of the Broward Planning Council. I was on the Children's Services Council board. I was on the Early Learning Council board. I am on the Broward Alliance. I'm at the Federal Reserve Bank Council of Economic Advisors. I serve on Senator Geller's Trade Commission, and I'm the rep in Broward County for the Council of Great City Schools. All of these things let me hear from the community, and I bring that voice back every time we make decisions.
I actually waited until there was 9 seconds left.
Thank you, Dr. Zeman. You will have closing statements now?
No, Mrs. E, yeah.
Yeah. You get to answer the question.
You get to answer the question. Sorry.
Don't shortchange her now.
Thank you for that. Have to be involved in the community that we serve. I am not on a lot of boards and I'm not elected to a lot of offices. However, community to go meet the community where they are. They may not all be able to make it to a board meeting. They may not all be able to make it on a Zoom link, but I'm going to go to where the community is. I have to go to churches. I have to go to community meetings. I have to go to advisory councils as well as their meetings that they have in their local communities. The way for me to find out what the community needs is to be involved, to be there, to be at the location. And I would love to know what's working well, what's not working well, what the needs are for the community. But I feel like I have to be face to face in some instances, and in as many instances as I can. And then I can rely on advisory committees and other people to tell me what the community wants. But I need to hear from the mom that's working 2 jobs and can't make it to one of those committee meetings. I need to hear from the single dad that's working and he can't make it on the Zoom conference. I need to hear about those people that are working morning shifts or late night shifts and what they need for their community, which is where our schools sit. And our schools are designed to be sitting in a community to serve the community academically and in other ways. So for me, the best way to find out what community input is to be there, to be available, to be accessible, to be reachable, and to respond to whatever it is that the community finds that it needs.
Thank you. We will go to a very quick closing statements. Dr. Zeman, Monica, 1 minute each?
Yes.
It's 1 minute each, closing statements, starting with Dr. Zeman.
I'm starting it now.
Thank you very much, Monica. I just want to start with something I am proud of. I ran to do some things. Those things got done. I am a politician. I'm an elected leader, but I'm also a man with integrity. I said I was going to do these things. They've got done, from becoming an A district to paying teachers an additional $13,000 in compensation, $6,800 in pay. We have delivered. We are also the safest school district in the United States by many measures, something that I've worked hard on. So I think I've done a good job in contributing to this team of 9. My kids are still in school. I'm the only person in this race that still has kids in school. I think that's another important factor because when I come home from a school board meeting, I get to sit down with Lily, Jane, and Wesley, my board of directors, and I get to tell them what I've done. And I hear whether or not what I've done is going to make their schools better or not so better. So I'm really excited to serve on the board. I want Broward to be the best district in the nation, and I'd like to stay for 4 more years.
Thank you, Dr. Zeman. Mrs. Zeem? Mrs. Zeem? She's frozen.
It could be that she can hear you, though, and only the video is frozen.
Can you hear us, Mrs. Zeem? She's traveling, so.
Let me try admitting.
Oh, there she
We
is.
got her back.
Okay.
Are you there?
I tried admitting her cell phone, seeing if that would help.
She's still frozen.
Just in case my
Okay. We can hear you now.
Okay, I apologize. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, let's try it again. I apologize. So what I would say is I bring to the table the fact that I am a parent that had a daughter who just recently graduated from high school. That's why we're on our way to FAMU. I am a community member that is active in my community. I am a former special education teacher and director, and I currently work for the district as a district administrator. What I bring to the table is a unique perspective so I can relate, understand, and empathize with what's happening in the district walks of life that is presented. Close schools and lose jobs. And administrators come with some different common sense solutions and to there'll be the opportunity to work together, things done, fight for every child in the district, just like they're the children in my own home. That's why I am the best opportunity to have a start and perspective.
Thank you. Thank you to both candidates, Ms. Azim and Dr. Zeman.
Latha and Monica, thank you so much for having us tonight.
That concludes the
opportunity. Thank you.
This concludes the forum for School District 8. Please stay with us for the candidate forum for District 6. It's just going to take us a moment to rearrange the candidates. So I'm going to be removing the candidates for District 8 and bringing in District 6. Okay, if everyone would just say just a few words to make sure everything is working.
Monica, one of them dropped off.
Good evening, ladies.
Oh, okay.
Gentlemen.
Good evening. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me.
Good. Mr. Fernandez, if you'll say something so we know that your
Good
is
evening,
working.
Doc. How are you? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Okay, we will now begin the candidate forum for District 6, which again includes all or part of Cooper City, Davie, Plantation, Sunrise, and Weston. Again, this is a non-partisan race, but only registered voters in District 6 will have this race on their ballot. And just a reminder of the format for tonight's forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide a self-introduction. This will be followed by 6 questions where each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond. We will conclude with each candidate providing a 1-minute closing statement. I will hold up a yellow star as a 10-second warning, and I will use a red heart to indicate it's time to stop. And then remember, I control the mute button. And now I will turn the program back over to our moderator, Leda Krishnaya.
Thank you, Monica. Good afternoon or good evening, candidates. Um, we will begin by self-introductions. To begin with, we will begin in this order. Ms. Bastos, am I pronouncing it correctly?
You are, thank you.
Your opening statement of 1.5 minutes.
Absolutely.
No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes for
Sorry,
that.
2 minutes.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, thank you. And thank you for hosting this. Hello again to some of my opponents today, and happy birthday once again to Mr. Cervera. Wished him a happy birthday at 7:30 this morning with the Sun Sentinel endorsement interview, and now he is finishing the day with some of his favorite people as well. Just wanted to introduce myself very briefly. Jessie Bastos again. I have 24 years of experience within Broward County Public Schools. 9 of those have been directly as a student, and 15 of those have been as a parent and a volunteer in many capacities, including the PTSA with Western High School, which I'm currently involved with. In addition to that, I have served my community for the past several years in many capacities. I am currently an elected supervisor to the Broward Soil and Water Conservation District. I am vice chair of Davies Planning and Zoning Committee. I am chair of Davies Agricultural and Environmental Advisory Committee. I serve on the Broward School Board District Advisory Committee, and probably too many others to count. I also have 22 years of experience in the private sector in business sales. And I think that's very important because I am responsible for an $80 million a year budget within a $1 trillion company that is globally recognized. I understand how to lead through organizational changes. Clearly, Broward Schools is facing some significant challenges, especially financially. And I would like to apply my decades of business experience to help steer our school board in the right direction.
Thank you. Mr. Cervera, you're next.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, apologies, don't know what happened there. Good evening to the group. It is very nice to be here this evening and be participating in this forum. My name is Adam Cervera, and I am the incumbent District 6 school board member. I am a product of Broward County Public School and living, breathing proof that our public schools work. I grew up in Coral Springs, Florida. I attended Maplewood Elementary School, Ramblewood Middle School, J.P. Terravalla High School, class of 2001. Broward County Public Schools gave me an education, it gave me boundaries, and it helped set me on the right path that would ultimately lead me to the University of Central Florida, as well as Florida International University, where I received my Juris Doctor degree, and I am a practicing lawyer. So I've always been very, very grateful and felt a giant sense of gratitude to BCPS, to Broward County Public Schools. It really helped shape the person that I am today. In my capacity as the D6 board member, in a relatively short period of time, I have established a very clear record. I show up, I listen, I ask the difficult questions, and I put students and parents first while always supporting our great teachers. I've supported Broward's academic success while demanding greater financial accountability. I'm the only board member who is not afraid to go against the grain and ask those difficult questions. I have a proven track record, and I will always fight for fiscal responsibility and transparency as long as I'm on the board. Whether it's fighting against wasteful contracts, holding upper level district staff members accountable, or making sure the public always has the right to come to our meetings and address our board, I've been the one that's trying to change the culture at BCPS for the better. And my work on the board has not gone unnoticed. This is why I am proudly endorsed by the Broward Teachers Union, BTU, the local police union, the PBA, Local 4321, our great firemen, the Broward AFL-CIO, and the Florida Education Association, who are all backing my reelection bid. But there's still more work to do. We're facing declining enrollment, difficult budget decisions, and the need to rebuild trust. And I'm prepared to continue that work with independence, transparency, and focus if given another 4-year term.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez,
All
your
right,
two
good evening,
minutes.
everybody. I'm Roberto Fernandez III. I'm a 21-year veteran of Broward County Public Schools. I've taught at Boyd Anderson High School, Plantation High School. I've been district staff in the Department of School Culture and Student Support, where I manage a $100,000 grant as part of mandate instruction here in the district. And as part of the hiring freeze earlier this year, I was sent to Monarch High School to teach social studies from January until the end of the school year. I am running for this race because my two children are part of this district. My youngest is at Bear Middle, my oldest is at Plantation High. And I really believe that school board members should be focused on students first and then supporting staff and keeping politics out of education. So for me, my big priorities are financial responsibility. I believe that I am uniquely qualified for the seat because I bring a perspective as a classroom teacher and a district staff member who has managed budgets and understands some of the budgeting issues. As a candidate, I've spoken to some of our vendors and understand some of their frustrations. One of my other priorities is also improving school security, the physical security, because I believe that while we have improved since MSD, I think we still have work to do. And another priority for me is student mental health, because I believe that our students still need more mental health support than what the district is currently providing. If you'd like to learn more about me, visit electroberto2026.com. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Henry?
Thank you so much for putting on this form. My name is Mackay Henry. I am 20 years old. I'm running for school board because I have seen the state of this district. My mother's been a union teacher for nearly 20 years. I spent all of my life in Broward County Public Schools. I think more than anything else, I am a product of this school district. After graduation, I became a substitute teacher and a debate coach. Recently, I coached the national champion. And when I look at this district and I see what's happened to our proud county, I think of the massive disservice that's being done to students in this county right now, because nearly 40% of the students in this district are not reading on grade level. I think it is a travesty because public education is really where the mind is formed. Without high quality public education, we do not have a literate population that serves to fight for the next generation and to continue our society on. I think public education is the most important institution because it levels the playing field between rich and poor in this country. I think public education is where true people of character are formed. And principally, when we're looking at the state of public education in Broward County, I think that we have to fight at every single level to restore confidence of parents, teachers, students, and family, because students and families are leaving this district in droves. And if we don't fight to retain them, our education for our students who are left in this district will go down and decline for everyone left behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now you will all have 6 questions, the same questions to each one, and we would alternate who's first. Starting with Ms. Bastos, the first question is, student achievement remains one of the district's most important responsibilities. Beyond standardized test scores, what indicators would you use to determine whether Broward County Public Schools is truly preparing students for lifelong success?
I think that our enrollment numbers are an important gauge of whether the community believes that Broward County Public Schools is doing a sufficient job. And I think that we need to be doing better. I don't see that we have done well enough at promoting the amazing programs that we have, from JROTC to our ESE programs, our gifted programs, our performing arts programs. I feel like the narrative has been extremely negative, and that we need to take back that narrative and sell the amazing programs that we have so that the community feels that they can trust their children to public schools once again. So I do think that our enrollment numbers are a leading indicator of whether the community believes that we're doing a good job.
Thank you. Mrs. Savera, the same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Please.
Yes. Student achievement remains one of the district's most important responsibilities. Beyond standardized test scores, what indicators would you use to determine whether Broward County Public Schools is truly preparing students for lifelong success?
That's a great question, and thank you for the opportunity to answer. First off, I would like to remind the group, we are an A-rated district for the third year in a row. I'm very proud of that. We do a phenomenal job of educating our students, and you know, there's a lot of talk about enrollment declines and things like that, and I realize that that's a problem, and we got to work very hard to reverse that trend. But 85% of school-age children in this county attend a Broward County public school. So we do educate quite a bit of these kids, and our state ratings to give us that A rating is very critical, and it is indicative because that's not something that the district formulates. That comes directly from Tallahassee based on certain formulas that they have that govern every single school county in the entire state. So this is not something like, well, Broward is skewing the numbers one way or another. This comes directly from Tallahassee. So I am very proud of those numbers and the fact that we are an A rated district. As far as the testing is concerned, I've been on record on this many times. We test our kids way too much, entirely too much. These kids in second and third grade, I speak to parents all the time throughout my district. They complain to me that their young ones have testing anxiety at such a young age in elementary school, and it's a real problem. We focus too much on that. We need to go back to sort of the way things were when I was in school many, many, many years ago. And I understand the importance for standardized testing, but we put too much of an emphasis on that.
Thank you, Mr. Severa. Mr. Fernandez, you're next.
Thank you so much. So an important measure for me to assess how well we're doing as a school district is our literacy rate. Currently, our literacy rate is 61%, and that was something that has been growing over the last 3 years. My concern is because of the massive cuts that we did this year, that we might see a decline in our literacy rate. In some of our transformation schools throughout the district, we saw over 1,500 students who went from not being on grade level to getting on grade level because of the efforts of district staff going out and training teachers and getting them the skills and the tools that they need to help our students get their literacy up to what it needs to be. The other measure that I would like to see is actually having students who are getting industry certifications. One of the things that I taught at Monarch High School this past school year was I taught entrepreneurship and small business, and we taught project management skills for students. And a lot of my students were able to get certified in those career pathways. And so those are skills that they can take with them into the job force, whether they're going to college or whether they're going straight into the workforce. One of the things that we need to do is continue to develop the skills that students are getting in, kind of collaboration or in tandem with these industry certifications. Sometimes a kid comes out with a certification, but doesn't have some of the presentation skills or some of the writing skills. And so those are things that we need to continue to develop. So those are the two measures that I would be looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Mr. Henry?
I'd like to say that every student cannot succeed in Broward County until every student reads in Broward County. I agree with Roberto a lot. I think I share with his concerns, but I think we have to reframe this conversation because the students who remain in schools and the amount of students in the district who are chronically absentee is the real number that we need to be looking at. And then I think it's thirdly, how are we keeping and how well funded are the programs that keep kids in school and off the street? Because I think that programs like the Broward Debate Initiative or our other civic engagement programs are the real barometer in terms of how we're funding them, and how many students are participating in these programs is the real barometer, which tells us how well we're able to keep students engaged, keep them learning, and wanting to continue to be productive members of society. Because if students don't see a value add in their schools, they're not going to buy into what their teachers are selling them. And I think that we have to do so much more work to ensuring that every student stays engaged, stays focused, and stays wanting to learn. Because without developing that mindset, wanting to learn, and being in the right frame of head, our students don't stay in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, we'll begin with Mr. Fernandez. What should Broward County Public Schools be doing to combat declining enrollment? As a school board member, what would you do to improve the quality competitiveness, and reputation of Broward County Public Schools so that they remain the preferred choice for all families?
So thank you for that question. I think that one of the things that we need to do to be more competitive is to consolidate our schools, make them stronger, make them more robust. When we have teachers that have elementary school classrooms that are 28 or 30 students, that does not make us more robust. That does not draw parents to come back to our schools. One of the things for me that I think would also help, aside from consolidating and really beefing up the educational programs that we offer in our schools, is building better relationships with community partners. Like I was saying earlier about the entrepreneurship and small business, what are some of the issues that our businesses are encountering that we can use as case studies to teach students to prepare them for some of the real world issues that they will encounter when they leave our schools? So I think that's part of it. I think also developing a plan once we get into a fiscal state that we can of rebuilding schools, because a lot of families are drawn to the new buildings that the charter schools offer, even though they don't offer the same competitive quality programs that we offer in the school district. So I think that one of the things that, these are the kind of things that we need to do to bring people back and to have our schools improve. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, you're next.
Thank you. So I think a lot of this has to do with creating and maintaining value add programs. I think for me, it was speech and debate. It changed my life. It got me into this race. And I think it allowed me to be able to have this forum to express my mind. I think a lot of it comes from the sense of how are we keeping our funding? Because without these value add programs, we have less and less resources for each and every student because we don't retain the students that we need to keep. So I think first it's including and expanding those value add programs. And then secondarily, I think that we have to convince parents that Broward County Public Schools is the best place to send their students. There's a lot of voucher dollars. There's a lot of being said about declining demographics. But I think if we're keeping the value add programs, we are only going to convince more parents that Broward County is the best place. Then secondarily, I think it stems from teacher pay, right? Because no parent wants to send their students to schools when they think that their educators, the people who are entrusted to raise them, have to work 2, 3 jobs. I think the slovenly state of teacher pay in this district is what's keeping a lot of parents away because they know that teachers are overworked, overstressed, overburdened, and are frankly carrying the load of God on their backs. If we don't take care of our teachers, we're not taking care of the people who take care of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bastos?
Yes, thank you. And I referenced a little bit of this in my answer to the prior question. We need to do a much better job of sales and marketing. This is something that I have spent the last 22 years of my professional career doing, making organizations profitable. We have phenomenal programs that are the best kept secret in Broward County, and they should not be a secret. Between JROTC, speech and debate, our performing arts programs, you name it, things that don't hold a candle to what private schools and charter schools are doing. So we need to do a better job there. I would love to see us implement a more widespread alumni program. Just thinking back to my own experience graduating from Western High School, there are so many alumni from my school who are doing amazing things within our community and outside of our community. Marty Kerr is a proud Wildcat, Western High School Wildcat, and I have so many friends that are doing well. We need to do a better job of bringing them back into our community so that they can help invest into making our schools better. We need to have better partnerships with our municipalities. I'm very proud to have many endorsements from local municipal leaders and have a lot of ideas on how we can better partner. And we also need to expand career and technical education programs so that those who choose not to go to a typical 4-year education institution have options. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cervera?
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to answer the question. I think this comes down to a couple things. And I've been on record at many a board meeting saying that we do not do an effective job marketing the pluses and all of the benefits that we offer as a district. We don't. whether it's social media or, old school, just putting notices and flyers in students' backpacks or whatnot. We are just not good marketers. I've been on record saying this for a very, very long time. We need to do a better job of selling the services that we offer. We are an A-rated school district. We have phenomenal schools. We have phenomenal technical programs. We have lots of things that other facilities couldn't offer. We have phenomenal dual language programs and theater programs, and our sports and athletics are top notch. You look at a lot of the championships and the individual accolades that our Broward County students achieve every year. We need to do a better job of getting that out to the public. And this ties directly into my next point. We have to stop shooting ourselves in the foot as a district. Because anybody who reads the Sun Sentinel, it seems every ad or every piece that's written about the school board, it's another misstep, it's another blunder that the district has fallen into. And unfortunately, when you have all this negativity around there, it's going to turn a lot of people off. We've got to get our act together. I've been a big proponent of calling out district level staff. I've called out the superintendent. I'm not afraid to go against the grain and make these changes that we need to stop with the negativity.
Mr. Cervera. The third question, we'll begin with Mr. Henry. As the board moves towards redefining and repurposing schools, please explain your ideas, including the plan to close schools and how they will be selected. How will you ensure that the process is equitable throughout the county? Mr. Henry?
So regarding the initiative to redefine our schools, I think two things have to be front of mind. Because if we're going to redefine our schools, we have to ensure that we do not remove what kept our schools on top for so long. So if we are going to keep our A rating, if we are going to make sure that our students have the services that we need, we can't go and cut away at the very organizational support structures that allow our students to be facilitated. Looking at the organizational plan, we got rid of over 36 mental health professionals. We got rid of elementary school counselors. I think in regards to school closures, we have to be concerned about whether or not we are pushing under like the students from schools that we're closing to other schools that will then become overclouded. Because if a teacher has 40, 50 students in a classroom, it becomes hard to teach, it's hard to educate. The job becomes more classroom management than focusing on communicating material to students. So when we're considering how the process of consolidation and other modifications towards school facilities has to be done, I think it has to look towards the question of, is it creating a value add for our students? And then if in the unfortunate event that closure has to happen, how will students' education be effective? If it's going to have a negative education to be in an overcrowded classroom with 40 or 50 students, I stand firmly against it. Thank you.
Ms. Bastos, you're next.
Yes, and can you just repeat the question once more?
Right. As the board moves towards redefining and repurposing schools, please explain your ideas, including the plan to close schools and how they will be selected. How will you ensure that the process is equitable throughout the county?
So I'll just start by saying, once again, we need to do a better job of selling our programs so that our Broward County families feel confident sending their children to our schools. And I hate to sound like a broken record on this, but this is just an area where there is a huge area of opportunity. Over the past week, and I know you can't see the details of this, but here's some information that was provided by the district on what the level of services and the capacity of so many of our schools. It's alarming. It's alarming. I mean, there's schools on here that are at 30% capacity, 29% capacity, 36% capacity, 27%. So to think that, that we're not going to consider, the unfortunate situation that we're in and the possibility of further consolidation, it's just a situation that I wish that prior boards had given more thought to. With that said, I think that we need to bring some fresh ideas to the mix. I think that we've seen a lot of success with 6 through 12 models, with Monday through Thursday models, with more schools that are focused on career and technical education programs, because again, not everyone is slated for a 4-year university. And then most importantly, we need to make sure that we get community input and consider the needs of the community and the equity of the community.
Thank you. Mr. Cervera?
Thank you. So I'll start by saying, our vote on voting to close and repurpose those 6 under-enrolled schools recently was one of the hardest decisions that I had to make as a board member. Truly gut-wrenching, going to those town hall meetings, listening to parents, listening to students, listening to teachers, understanding the deep sense of connection they have to their local schools, and ultimately having to make the best fiscal decision for the district. So these are very, very tough decisions. These are decisions that nobody wishes to be a part of, but unfortunately, it is part of the job. Now, I will tell you this moving forward. The district should not automatically just close more schools. Enrollment decline and excess capacity obviously are real. So no responsible member of the board can take away every option or take it off the table. However, closure really has to be a last resort, supported by transparent, school-specific based evidence. Before any additional closures can take place, we have to do a better job as a district of disclosing the projected savings to the public, the transportation impacts that it may cause, the capacity issues it may cause on the other facility that we now have to house the students and staff in, the effects on our exceptional student and special education and our specialty programs, and obviously the community consequences in order to come up with viable plans. Broward should not first pursue, we should first pursue programs like magnet programs, innovative programs, partnerships, to work and strategize in order to be able to keep these open. And certainly closure has to be a last resort.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez?
So thank you for this question. I am a parent of students that were impacted by some of these redefined initiatives this school year. As I shared with you earlier, my youngest is at Bear Middle, my oldest is at Plantation High. Plantation will now be a Plantation 6 through 12. And fortunately, the community was successful in keeping Bear Middle School open. I was at the community conversations with my school. So I was at the one at Plantation High and the one at Dillard High School. And one of the things that I called for, especially for the first one at Plantation High, was that we need to make sure that the programs are really good programs. At Bear, it was the Amazon program, so students learn how to get Python certified. It's a 3-year program. We got to keep it. At Plantation High and at Boyd Anderson, I taught International Baccalaureate, Advanced Placement. I wasn't in Cambridge because I was still nascent when I was there. But we need to keep these advanced academics ideas as part of, especially with the upper classes or with the upper school, the high school, secondary schools. With K through 5, if we're looking at closing schools, are we able to bring in something really good from a neighboring school that might be a mile away and merge it with a school? So let's say a school has a really good ESE pod cluster program and they have a really good music program. Can we consolidate that with a school that has a really good art program and a really good PE program or sports program, or another kind of magnet that will get people, to be excited about, hey, you know what, they're combining the schools, but they're trying to make them better. And I think that's part of what we need to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Cervera, you would be first. It has come to our attention that arts and music are not available at several schools, many of them, especially in schools where the students need it most. How will you ensure that every student in Broward County has access to arts and music, which are as important as reading and writing to many of our students?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And I've been on record about this as well. It's unacceptable. Our students need access to programs like that, as well as PE, I might add, and physical education programs. But the cuts that we've been facing in these types of programs, in my mind, are inexcusable. I believe that this district is taking away from programs that directly benefit students and are basically working off the backs of our students to account for fiscal mismanagement that has plagued this district for years. And I've been very, very vocal about this. And I think the way we work this back is starting to plug some of these holes that we're constantly dealing with as a board and as a district with this out of control spending. There's a reason why I vote down a lot of these contracts that the board wants to enter into. There's a reason that I voted against the org chart, which made a lot of cuts to our student-based services and our teaching staff and certified teachers, because we need to make sure that when kids go to school, listen, I know I went to public school a very long time ago. I'm old. I'll be the first one to admit it. I had music. I had art, I had PE at every level going along the way, and I enjoy those. It's a nice break from the rigmarole, right? The intensity of your traditional classes, and our students need it. And I will continue to fight for those programs in my next term to make sure that every student has the same opportunity that I had all those years ago.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez, same question.
All right, thank you for that question. I think that part of the concern that community has when it comes to the arts and art instruction, especially for elementary school kids, is we don't know what students are going to like. I know when I was in school, I had a really good art teacher, I had a really good music teacher. You know, I am not musically inclined or artistically inclined, but I can really appreciate good music and good art because I had really good teachers that helped me appreciate good music and good art. For me, I think it's important that we nurture these kind of opportunities for every single student, because something that may not develop now might develop in the future for a student. So a student might start experimenting with art. They might realize, hey, you know what, trees are not just lollipops. And it might take them a long time to realize, hey, trees are really, really unique. They're not all the same. And so they develop that skill over time with a nurturing art teacher. Um, I really think that as a school board member, when I get elected, that I will make it a priority from the dais to say, hey, we need to make this important. I know that there's a board member now on the school board that is trying to make it happen. I will make sure that I go to every single school and make sure that those programs are actively happening and that I see it for myself when I get boots on the ground in that school, to make sure that every student has an opportunity to get a well-rounded education in our public schools. Thank you.
Mr. Henry, you're next.
Thank you for the question. So I want arts and music available in all of our schools. I think that these are broad value add programs to students. I think they keep students in schools, which returns me to what I was talking about originally in terms of chronic absenteeism in our schools. I think on the board, I will fight tooth and nail to keep these programs in our schools, to expand them to schools that for some reason are lacking them. And I think that in many cases, for students, these programs are their safe spaces. These are the spaces where they can come into their own, the spaces where they can create positive expression. I think it allows for an outlet that allows them to separate from whatever's going on in their homes or their personal lives. I think that these are the spaces where students are allowed to expand their frontiers. And I think that's all what public education is about, expanding your frontiers, leveling that gap between rich and poor. For students who don't have access to these programs and facilities, who can't pay for music tutors, or can't pay for art teachers, can't pay for classes to do any of those things. I think that these programs are where they get their fundamentals, right? Where they get the idea of maybe I'm into these ideas. Maybe I'm into these programs. Maybe this is what I want to spend my life doing. I think they're essential. Humanities education is essential to gaining a backbone and expanding your frontiers and critically thinking about how you want to impart your view upon the world, about how you want to externalize your vision for what you're experiencing in your life, and brings, like, I think, exquisite beauty to our schools. Thank you.
Ms. Bastos.
Yes, thank you for this question. This one is actually near and dear to my heart. When I was at DeQuesta Trace Middle School, I was entering my band program when we had brand new instruments, and it was a brand new school and there was fresh paint on the wall. I continued my musical journey into high school and was an all-state oboist for all 4 years of my high school career. Also was drum major and leader of my 200 plus piece marching band. Had so many wonderful memories from that. It allowed me to get a scholarship to Florida State University, where I continued my musical studies and was able to perform at the Kennedy Center. And I cannot underestimate how important that experience was through Broward County Public Schools to allow me that experience. I can tell you that arts and music, nothing really has changed since back in the 90s. It's always first on the chopping block. What I can tell you for sure is that I will be absolutely committed to ensuring that everyone has an opportunity to experience these phenomenal programs so that they can have a well-rounded first-class education right here in Broward County.
Thank you. We will start with Mr. Fernandez for question number 5. School safety extends beyond physical security. What should Broward County Public Schools do to better support students' mental health? Specifically, how would you allocate the referendum dollars, if it should pass, between safety, mental health, and teacher salaries? What mental health services would the referendum dollars be used for? Mr. Fernandez?
So for me, I think the biggest thing that mental health dollars should be used for is school social workers, for school psychologists, for the staff that will be able to help the students navigate some of the issues that they are coming into school with. I know that for me as a teacher, I was kind of like that first line of defense that referred students to the school social worker, the school psychologist, school guidance counselor, depending on the issues that some of our students had. And so I think that for me, one of the things that I would have loved to have had is more extensive training on some of the services that our schools and our school districts offer to students in the area of mental health. Now, one of the things I would like to add is that the school district has one of its guardrail, I believe it's guardrail number 6, that wants to make sure that every student has at least one trusted adult in school that they can go to if they have an emergency or a situation that they need an adult. And that is something that we need to continue to really develop, because we're still not at 100% when it comes to that measure. And that is partially because of training. That is partially because of, a poor mental health program. We have the Progress Matters, that the students kind of have to do a certain number of courses per month, but the students are not really getting anything out of it. I talked to my daughter and she's like, yeah, this is just, or Performance Matters, that's what it's called. And she's not happy with it. When I was at Monarch, the kids were like, okay, I kind of did it, but I don't get it. And so we had conversations to try to supplement that. So I really think we need to focus on empowering our teachers to help our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, you're next.
Yeah, so I think that on the question of school safety extending beyond school safety extending beyond physical security, I think mental health is of key importance. I think I would like to bring back the SSIPs who were removed as part of the organizational plan. I think that we need school social workers. In that same organizational plan, nearly over a dozen elementary school counselors lost their jobs. And I think that we have a long road to go in terms of bringing up the quality of mental health in our district, because I think mental health is so important because it is essential to preventing tragedies like the one that happened, like the tragedies that are happening all over the nation. I think that when we're looking at the state of physical security, I think it's downstream of mental security. I think it is downstream of our ability to convince students that they are going to be safe in our schools, that they feel that they have trusted adults. Without the lack of school people that they feel they can turn to in terms of social counselors, social workers, in terms of just adults that they know who are safe spaces for them, who are going to really empathize with them. I think that that's essential to uplifting the quality of mental health in this district. Thank you.
Ms. Bastos, you're next.
Yes, as to the question of the referendum dollars, I agree that 90% should go to educators, and I believe that the other 10% should go to support our student-facing mental health staff and safety and security. I think that we need to ensure that anytime we're looking at the organizational chart, we are preserving our student-facing mental health staff. We need to ensure that our administrators are following the process of reporting concerns, which unfortunately I don't believe is happening today. We need to ensure that our students feel like that they have a place to belong and that, again, they're getting a well-rounded education, whether it's within, they feel like they belong in an after-school club or in the performing arts or in any other number of the wonderful, JROTC, speech and debate. We need to ensure that we're investing in those programs so that every student feels like they belong in our schools and we can prevent some of these tragedies from happening.
Thank you. Mrs. Silvera.
First of all, on the referendum aspect of this, I fought very hard to make sure that our teachers receive that 90% of the referendum dollars in order to be able to supplement in a very minor way their criminally low salary that we pay them at BCPS. So I was very proud to be one of the more vocal opponents of that, making sure that we were able to take care of our teachers and school-based staff with the version of the referendum that will be currently on the ballot with the 90-10 split. And I would encourage all of the listeners and viewers out there to do your research on that and understand how important that referendum is for our teachers and why it must pass come November. In regards to the 90-10 split, with the 10 split going for mental health, security, and safety, we as a board did something that I did not agree with the org chart. We cut a lot of social workers and school-based counselors. This is why I was screaming at those meetings at the top of my lungs that we needed to reject that org chart. One of the many reasons why we needed to reject that org chart, because I saw firsthand the social workers and the counselors that we were losing. Our kids need access to safe and trusted adults in our schools. They can make the world of difference. And what the district did, voted against, in my opinion, was a travesty, getting rid of all those individuals. And I was proud to loudly vote against that move.
Thank you. This is our final question, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Henry. Parents often say that they are informed after decisions have been made rather than included before they are made. How would you improve communication, transparency, and meaningful family engagement throughout the district?
In terms of communicating to parents and families, I think we have so much work to do. Because in my view, the role of a school board member really should be pastoral. They should be going out and speaking to parents, teachers, students, going and touring schools every single day. I think that we have so much work to do, because if you're looking at the role of a school board member, I really see it like leading a flock, right? You have to talk to people. You have to talk to people. You have to see them, meet them where they are. We have school board meetings that run like marathons. Parents have to come in at 9 a.m., wait till their agenda item is heard. They have to go on for hours and hours and hours. We have marathon school board meetings. I think we have to condense the size of those meetings so that student board members can go out, get out of there. I think we have so much work to do in terms of making sure that we can level with parents, engage with them. I think a big thing for us is like limiting the time we spend at the dais and doing more in the schools. Because if we talk to parents, we have forums, we have engagement with parents. I think everything from flyering to just shaking hands to engaging and leveling with students about how they feel their student is doing. Because I think so much of why parents and families across the district feel that they're not being heard is because it's almost like democratic engagement is being suppressed, right? We have a culture that seemingly limits parents and families and speakers to 2-3 minutes at school board meetings. It seems like we don't want to hear them. I think we have to engage with them and be willing to hear them and have conversations with them. That's what all this is about. So first thing is getting out of the way from the dais and going to schools and families. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bastos?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we meet the community where they're at. It's as a parent, again, of kids in Broward County Public Schools, my youngest has 2 more years at Western High School. Listening to these school board meetings that go on for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours, and they are a far way away from District 6 at the Casey Wright building, which, by the way, I don't know why we still have that as part of our school property. I think that it needs to be more centrally located. I think that we need to have more people coming out to local meetings to provide their feedback. I think Rebecca Thompson, school board member Rebecca Thompson, does a really great job with some of her social media posts and School Board in a Minute. Rebecca Thompson, of course, is endorsing me in my school board race. And I think that we need to just do a better job of being more transparent and communicating in ways that are more digestible to the community and asking for more feedback before decisions are made.
Thank you. Mr. Severa, you're next.
Sorry, could I get you to repeat the question?
Parents often say they are informed after decisions have been made rather than included before they are made. How would you improve communication, transparency, and meaningful family engagement throughout the district?
Well, thank you for the question. It's a good one. Public participation is one of the focal points of what I've been pushing for on this board. There is nothing more crucial than having parents involved with their child's education and giving them access to this board. I am constantly out in my community. I've been on the board for 14 months. I visited for all 42 of my schools over the course of my tenure on the board. I hosted multiple community conversations, town hall meetings, where I invited my parents and my constituents to come in and engage with me, ask questions, get updates, and be a part of that process. Parent participation is crucial to me, and I have been the most outgoing and the most the board member who's been out in the community the most than any of my colleagues in the last year plus. I'm out everywhere. If you don't believe me, check out my social media. It's all on there. Now, I am also a big proponent of allowing parents to come to our school board meetings and address the board directly, address your government directly. There is a new policy that the district is trying to cram down the public's throat, which will substantially limit public comment at our meetings. I have been a staunch opponent of this. I have been screaming from the hilltops that this is unjust. I will not be supporting it. Fortunately, I was able to get the vote delayed for like another 3 or 4 months, so we don't have to address it. But having parents involved in the process is the utmost importance to me.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you for the question. For me, I think it's a little more than just having a few town hall meetings. I think it's having a sustainable and intentional program of town halls. So for me, I'm thinking third Thursday with Roberto Fernandez III, something where we do town halls monthly. And people know Roberto's going to be there. This is his town hall, but I am bringing district staff to come to help families. So in August, I would have something where parents can come out and they can get support on free or reduced lunch forms and filling them out, because those help us as a district and we help our families. There are more services than just free meals for students that are involved with our free or reduced lunch program. We could talk about FAFSA forms in January as families are starting to navigate students that are seniors that are getting ready to go to college. We can talk about how to get better supports for ESE students in our schools, because that's one of the things that I've heard from voters at the doors as I've knocked on 13,000 of them. Really looking for bullying issues, because a lot of parents like, oh, I went to the principal, I felt that they kind of blew me off, and they don't know where to go after the principal. So I think that's part of like going out there and intentionally trying to inform and engage the community and train them. And yes, we might have a town hall, we might have 10 people. We might have another town hall, we have 50 people. We might have a town hall, there'll be 100 people. And I think as the community sees that it's there, it's going to happen, people will come. If the mountain doesn't come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the questions. We will now go to closing statements. You all have 1 minute each, and we will begin with Ms. Bastos.
Well, once again, I want to thank you for hosting this forum. It's a pleasure to be here. I will tell you that I am the only candidate in the District 6 race who not only has attended District 6 schools myself, from elementary school to middle school to high school, but I also believe so passionately in our Broward County Public Schools that I also choose to send my children to our District 6 schools, and I'm very proud of that. I think that our two biggest issues that we're facing right now is that we are in a financial crisis and we are losing students by the thousands. I think an effective board is a board that has a diversity of perspectives. I bring a fresh outside perspective from the private sector where I specialize in business and sales and marketing, and I want to apply my talents and my skill sets to the betterment of Broward County Public Schools. I would love the support of everyone in District 6, and you can read more about me on jessiebostos.vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Severa, you're next.
Thank you, and thank you again for hosting this forum. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to everyone, as well as all your listeners and viewers. Here's the deal. I am the only person on this call or on this Zoom meeting that has a proven track record of delivering results for our students. Everything you hear from my colleagues on this call, or I intend to do this, or I might do this, or it's my plan to do this, those are campaign promises. I have a track record of delivering results for all of our students, for all of our parents, for all of our great teachers within the county, whether it's securing proper graduation venues for our high school seniors, calling out wasteful spending on a regular basis, terminating lease agreements that cost the district millions of dollars, firing upper level staff management who is not doing a good job, ensuring that our referendum dollars are only being used for our teachers, taking on the Broward County tax collector to recover $5 million that should be going to our teachers. I've led the charge with that and fighting against our recent org chart, fighting against policies that will limit public comment. This is why I'm proudly endorsed by the Broward Teachers Union, the Police Benevolent Association, the Broward County Professional Firefighters, the AFL-CIO, and the Florida Education Association. I am the one who's delivered results. I have a record. Please check me out, adamcervera.com, and see what I've been able to do. And we're just getting started. You give me 4 more years, and we're going to continue with the change and the positivity that we've been making. Thank you.
Mr. Fernandez.
All right, thank you so much. I'm bringing the perspective of a classroom teacher that just stepped out of the classroom, a perspective of a teacher who works in the school district, somebody who has managed budgets within the school district. I am a parent of 2 students in schools. I have gone through the redefining process as a parent and community member. So for me, this isn't just about getting elected or a stepping stone for political office. This is personal. This is something that I have dedicated 21 years of my life to serving Broward students. I do have a proven track record of being a highly effective educator in our school district. I do have a record of engaging our students in service learning projects throughout Broward County. So I think that what I bring is something that will, a perspective that brings in care and concern and can manage this $5 billion budget, as well as thinking about the people, the boots on the ground. I'm not just looking at numbers on a data sheet. I'm considering colleagues, leaders, students as part of my candidacy. So please visit electroberto2026.com to learn more about me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for putting on this candidate forum. I'm not a parent, but I am of this district. I live in this district. I'm a son of Broward. I was raised in this district, and I'll fight day in and day out for each and every student in this county. I followed my mother into education because I think it's the most important work that anyone can do. I think that we have to restore trust in public education. Too many families are dissuaded from our district or being pulled away. But I think the only way that happens is by going in with mission, going in with intentionality, and realizing we have to change how things are done here. I don't think that we continue to rest on our laurels and say, this is enough. I think we have so much more to do. If you want change in Broward County Public Schools, go to sonofbroward.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the candidates for joining us tonight. And happy birthday, Mr. Severa. Monica?
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
So thank you to the school board candidates for participating in this forum, and to the Broward County Council, PTA, PTSA. They did a wonderful job. So this forum was live streamed on the League of Women Voters of Broward County's Facebook page and will be available there until elections are over. The forum was also recorded, and the video can be viewed on the League of Women Voters YouTube channel either later tonight or certainly by tomorrow morning. So please tell your family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, everyone you know in District 6 about this resource. Remember, every registered voter in Broward County can vote for candidates in School Board District 8, whereas for District 6, it is restricted to those voters registered in this district. As I mentioned earlier, all the candidates were asked to respond to written questions posed by the League, and these written questions are different from the questions you heard tonight. The candidates' responses are available now for viewing and comparing at www.vote411.org. So again, be sure to tell your family and friends about this resource. One more reminder, it's not too late to request a vote by mail ballot by calling 954-357-7055. If the tropical storm up in the Panhandle hasn't convinced you that vote by mail is useful, it should do it now, okay? So just a reminder, get that vote by mail ballot just in case. You don't have to use it, but it's good to have it just in case. So be an informed voter and vote in this election. Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.